Hello everyone, this is Explosive Robotics here, and in this video I will be giving a review of my time at Robot Rumble, a robot combat event hosted by Wheeling High School. Robots built by high school students compete in the 85-pound or 60-pound weight classes. I'm not sure exactly how the competition works because I was unable to access the bracket, but I believe it's a double elimination tournament. After the main competition, Rumbles are held with up to 8 bots in the arena at once. Before I show you some fights, I'm going to give some background information about our robot and the robotics club at our school. I'm going to start off by saying we had very little time to get things done. The person who mentored the club last year left the school, so we couldn't run the club until we found a solution in the middle of December, and we didn't really start working on the bot until January. We had to use a spare chassis from last year just for the sake of time. Now the thing is, we didn't compete in Robot Rumble last year. We competed in the forced robotics competition, the rules of which require the robot to function autonomously at one point in the match. Because of this, the control system for it was different from one you usually see in a traditional combat robot. It involved an Xbox controller connected to a computer with dozens of lines of code on it, which then sent a signal to the robot itself. This system caused a few issues along the way, and there were multiple instances where we could do nothing but try to get the code working. And there were only 2 students in this club who worked with the code last year, so they were the only ones who could get it working this year. And while they were doing that, the rest of us found other non-productive things to do. Overall, there were a lot of things that held us back from making this bot the best it could be. Our original design idea was a vertical spinner, but on the final day of working on it, we had to attach the spinner directly to the motor and mount it diagonally to save time and weight. Here's a picture of what the final design looked like. Its name is Midnight Monkey. Why is it called that? It's a long story, and I'm not going to explain it all in this video. While we were in line to fight, I overheard another competitor say our bot was similar to Ghost Raptor, probably because of the diagonal weapon, and at first our performance was a lot like Ghost Raptor's as well. Our first opponent was a bot that looked extremely similar to the Season 4 design of Endgame. I was pretty worried about how we were going to perform in this one, because if we didn't have the low ground, we were screwed. Our driver's plan was to try to get to the side instead of going head on. Unfortunately, that didn't really work, and our opponent started hitting us in the front. I don't know why, but our bot shut off after the first 2 hits. It didn't really matter though. They would have gotten under our armor no matter where they hit us. Our front wedge got ripped completely apart, and we lost that fight by knockout. We took it back to the pits and had quite a bit of repairing to do, though we didn't have a lot of spare parts, so we couldn't remake the wedge to look like how it was before. The best configuration we could come up with was this. Fortunately, we weren't fighting a spinner, or else those plastic forks would have been easily torn off. This fight was supposed to take place on Friday, the first day of the competition, but for some reason our bot wouldn't activate when we were getting set up for the fight, so the fight had to be delayed and didn't happen until the next day. So, on the next day, Saturday, we bought a lot more plastic for the competition to use for replacing armor, but we were scheduled for the 3rd fight of the day and didn't have time to replace our current configuration with a new wedge. Once again, we didn't have the low ground, so our opponent was able to get under us with ease, but at least they didn't do any serious damage. Our front attachments got completely bent on the first impact, so we essentially became a Rambo bot. Oh, and another problem we encountered in this fight, which you probably already noticed, our weapon never started spinning. I mean, it didn't matter, because we wouldn't have been able to hit them, but it just didn't look good for our bot. We got destroyed in our first fight, and now we were just a box with wheels getting pushed around in our second fight. So anyway, they kept ramming into us and getting underneath our bot. Eventually, we pushed them into the wall and were able to ram them a few more times. We got stuck on top of them with 30 seconds left and never got free. The judges declared our opponent the winner, which was expected because they were controlling us for more of the match. Unfortunately, this was our second loss, so we were eliminated from the main bracket. We could still come back and compete in Rumbles though, if we could get the bot working. 3 hours passed, and we redesigned the wedge and got the weapon working, and now we were ready for our first Rumble. At the start of the fight, we got stuck on top of another bot. I was worried that another bot would come and attack us while we were vulnerable. I was hoping to avoid the undercutter as much as possible because I saw their previous fights and their weapons spun really fast. The undercutter did end up ramming into us, but their blade was too low to hit us. We got free, and then the rest of the fight was chaos. Midnight Monkey dominated in this fight. We delivered hits to everyone. We shredded the wheel on one bot, got decent hits on another, and got the circular one flipped over, and did decent damage to the wedge bot that we got stuck on in the beginning. Winners were not declared in Rumbles, but if I was judging, I'd give the win to us. After the fight, we were in such good shape that we just got right back in line to fight in another Rumble. Alright, here's fight number 4 for Midnight Monkey. How did it go? We never turned on. Just kidding, I don't know why we were delayed to start. This Xbox controller system has tons of issues. The fight went pretty similarly to the last one. We were dishing out hits whenever we got the chance. If you want to see the full fights without voiceovers, they will be posted on Explosive Robotics Plus, and the playlist will be linked in the description of this video. As you can see, that one bot's top armor got completely ripped off, and the batteries were now exposed. I guess the team wanted to tap out or something, because the fight got stopped early because of that. Once again, we took almost no damage, so we got back in line for a third Rumble. In this fight, we were delayed to start again, and this time another bot took advantage of that and ripped off our back and left armor. We started moving shortly after that. The first bot we fought was also in this fight, but their weapon didn't seem to be working too well, so I wasn't that worried about fighting them. I don't know if we would have won this fight if it was judged. We did sustain a lot of damage, but we still delivered a few good hits. I also noticed that our weapon got bent a little, and I think this occurred in our last fight as well. I'm actually kind of surprised our weapon never got ripped off. This was our last fight, because we would have had a lot of repairs to do when we got back to the pits after it, and by this time, it was already pretty late. I could say this was one of the best robot events I've ever been to, but considering I've only been to 2 before this, that wouldn't mean much. But I'll still agree that it's true. I had a whole lot of fun in this event. I'm really glad the bot was able to do what it was supposed to do, despite all the difficulties we faced while making it. Can't wait to make another one and compete in this next year.